Hi, welcome to Fernbank Science Center's The Sky This Week. My name is April Whitt, one of the astronomers at the Science Center. We're looking at the sky for the week of December 6th through 12th, 2020. We'll start off with the last quarter moon at the beginning of the week. Watch it fade away to a little crescent by the end. There are some bright constellations to look for, some guide stars to find, a few bright planets, and we can look forward to a meteor shower, weather permitting, next week as well. Early in the week, there are bright planets and stars to look for. Just after the sun goes down at the beginning of the week, look toward the east, face the direction where the sun rises, you're facing east, and there are three bright stars that make the belt of Orion the Hunter. It appears as three stars that stand straight up from the sky, from the horizon. The thing is, the real sky is way bigger than this picture. So when you find Orion on the sky outside, it's really large across the sky. That constellation is. Those three stars that make the belt in the center, two stars here for shoulders, a couple of stars here for feet or knees. Last week, we used those three belt stars to find a little group called the Pleiades, an open cluster of stars, sometimes called the Seven Sisters. Same time, early in the week, early in the evening, find the planet Mars. It's the brightest star-like object over toward the southeast part of the sky, about an hour after the sun goes down. Mars is a good one to find. It's up most of the night and pretty easy to find. It's up high and it might be kind of pinkish looking when you find it on the real sky. Beginning on Monday, we have the last quarter moon. The light is on the left-hand side of the moon. If you watch for the next couple of days after this, each night the moon will appear to be thinner, a little bit more of a crescent, and it will be a little bit closer toward the eastern horizon, and it will rise about an hour later each night. On the 7th, just as the sun is coming up, this last quarter moon will be standing high in the south part of the sky. By the 8th, we've got an evening sky to look forward to. Face the direction west, that's the direction the sun sets, and Mars again, pretty easy to see, pretty high up in the sky. Then there are those two big bright planets, Jupiter and Saturn, both looking again like bright stars, and they appear fairly close together. Over the next couple of weeks, they'll get even closer together till a conjunction. They appear really close on December 21st. Go back to the early morning sky toward the end of the week. Planet Venus, a little bit closer to the sun than Earth is. And you can see a little crescent moon kind of left over. On the 10th, the two appear sort of straight up and down from each other. But look what happens 24 hours later. The moon appears even closer to the planet Venus, and it appears even a little thinner. So if you're looking for early morning things to look for, 6 o'clock in the morning or a little bit later, those will be pretty to watch. The old moon and the planet Venus early in the morning. A couple of weeks ago, we looked toward the north part of the sky to find the Big Dipper, a pattern that is part of Ursa Major, the Great Bear. And if you find it on the early morning sky, it's sort of a cup shape, a long handle, and four stars that make a bowl or a cup. We used those two stars on the end of the bowl, drew a line between to lead us to the North Star, Polaris. Polaris is on the end of the Little Dipper's handle, and the Little Dipper is a really tough pattern to find. Little Dipper and Big Dipper, they are not individual constellations. They're parts of the Great Bear and the Smaller Bear constellations. But just like we used Orion's belt to find a couple of other objects in the sky, we can use the Big Dipper pattern as a signpost as well. Follow the arc of those three stars on the handle, and it takes you to the star Arcturus. Nice and bright, fairly close to where the moon and Venus are in the early morning sky. The star Arcturus is almost 40 light years away from Earth. The light leaving that star tonight takes 40 years to get to us here on Earth. Or think about it that the light coming into your eyes early on the morning of the 12th, has been traveling for 40 years at the speed of light to get to us down here on the Earth. In 1933, the Chicago World's Fair used that star, Arcturus, used the light from that star with a photomultiplier tube, used it to start the circuitry to turn on all the lights for the 1933 Chicago World's Fair. The light from that star had left 40 years earlier for the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. Kind of cool. So we have followed the arc to the star Arcturus. Now we're speeding on a little bit further to the star Spica. Spica is a nice bright bluish colored star. It's part of the constellation of Virgo. And as you can see, that one's also fairly close to where the moon is. Again, on the real sky, these distances are a little bit farther apart than they look on here. So keep an eye out for the thin crescent moon, Spica just above, Venus down below by the end of this week. And looking forward just a little bit, if you look for that constellation Orion, we saw the bright stars of the belt just poking up above the horizon just after the sun had set. A couple of hours later, it's easier to find the whole rectangle shape of Orion. Follow those 3 stars up. That's how we found the Pleiades, the 7 sisters. Follow the 3 stars down toward the horizon, and you come to the brightest star on the night sky, the star Sirius, sometimes called the dog star. It's on the nose of Canis Major, the big dog. But there are 2 stars a little toward the east. They look like twins on the other side of the Milky Way here. See if you can find them, sort of one above the other. Here they are, Castor and Pollux. Those 2 stars are where the Geminid meteors appear to originate. As Earth moves along its orbit, occasionally we intersect the path of a comet that's gone through and left little crumbs of stuff behind it. As we watch from here on Earth, those little particles appear to streak across the sky as shooting stars, sometimes called shooting stars, little meteors. And the best time to see them will be this next weekend, December 13th over to the 14th. Best time is going to be from about midnight on the 13th to about 4 a.m. on the 14th. But start watching earlier. See if you can find some of those shooting stars in that area of the sky. It starts off over here toward the east, about 10:30. By a couple of hours later, Gemini will be high in the south, and you'll be able to find those 2 stars. Things to look forward to for the next week. Thanks very much for listening. Keep track, please, on Fernbank Science Center's website, www.fernbank.edu. Lots of interesting information there. Have a great week. Thanks again for listening.